What is up, y'all? And welcome to the Angery Nation podcast. We got most of the droogs in here tonight. We're missing Emery. He's off somewhere. You've been over at Carl's house there, T? Picking through the skull collection?
Yeah, that's my first. That's my first of many.
Your
You
first?
gotta have a collection of. That's Wilbur. I started bringing him on my live streams. It's when I want to say something stupid, I just use the skull head.
How you doing tonight, man? You still feeling sick?
Yeah, still sick. Got on the antibiotics. Supposed to be doing a class this weekend. I don't really want to go infect everybody, so I may not even do that. As much as I hate to miss stuff, but you know, life goes on. We're still kicking. We're still alive.
Yeah, that's it. We're all falling the fuck apart though. And to our next to that point, Donnie, how you doing?
This getting old thing sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It's peachy.
So you're gonna have to have shoulder surgery, huh?
Neck surgery, yeah.
Oh, neck surgery. Yeah, I'm probably gonna. Mine.
They're gonna put two rods in. I'm like, well, I set off metal detectors, and they're like, no, it's not magnetic.
Wow. So they're stainless.
Tell them to put the magnetic in there. That way you can use it as an excuse.
I'm just getting everything taken care of.
You don't have to go through the machine.
Why I can.
Sue, how the hell you doing? You look motionless there. Are you frozen? Or are you there?
I'm doing a lot better. I'm at Byron's house at the Graybeard Syndicate here in Indian Mound, Tennessee, not far from Carl Erickson's place, but around the Fort Campbell area. And we just been doing his little thing today.
That explains the beard. You're at the Graybeard Syndicate. You had to grow it out then.
He shaved this morning before he left the house too.
I'm trying to hide my handsomeness because I'm tired of beating off all the good-looking women with a stick.
Yeah, save some for the rest of us, Sue.
Okay.
Well, Sue, if you're beating them off, they're not women. I'm just saying, if you're beating them off, those aren't women.
I was at Rosson's house last week, and we had 5 women hit up on us, and both Emery and Rossen walked away from them. Oh, they're too fat. They're too fat. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. That's why you guys are still single. All right, go ahead.
Big girls need love too.
Well, now that we brought him up, we've got Rosin sitting up here at the top of the stack. I've skipped right over him on purpose so that we can introduce him now. See?
Yeah, tell him, Rossen. Tell him how you're scared of women.
Yeah, and that's why Sue actually got sick because we didn't interact with these girls a little bit longer. That's why he caught the famous shot show bug. He tried to pass us to me and Emery, but we held the line tight.
I held the line tight.
Yeah.
Well, guys, Rosin is a fantastic instructor friend of ours that I met because of Emery, knowing Emery through Carl and Sue and everybody, and that's how Rosin's now a part of our little fucked up family. And he had a class down here this weekend, handgun mastery with
handgun mastery near Daytona Beach, Florida. So for me, the climate here is a little bit more humid than in St. George, Utah. But we have past 3 days.
Rosin, your mic sucks.
Yeah, your mic's kind of rough, but it's all right. We'll get through it.
Yeah, the mic is just the general laptop mic, so that's why.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll get through it, man. It's no big deal. But we were out there. Russ was there too for the class. So no, don't talk louder. Talk lower. Actually, lower your voice a little bit. It'll sound better. Yeah.
Get that smooth, mellow fellow sound.
That's right. Get that fucking.
Look at my trigger finger, girls.
Look at my trigger finger.
The giggle switch.
The giggle switch. Yeah, that's a whole new term. Giggle switch
right there can shoot. Let me tell you.
Yeah, Rosin can shoot. There's no freaking doubt about that. He also gives a hell of a class. Russ was out there for the whole thing. Me and Mel were out there for parts of it. Mel got on the line. I gave her room to get up there because let her spend some time learning from the master. And she learned a lot actually too. So It was a great course. How did you think the students did, man? I mean, give us an idea of, because I saw the class, but let's give folks an idea of like who was there, age range, kind of skill set, that sort of thing.
Well, we had a guys from a different background. It was a little bit older group in general, which can be a little bit of a challenge because most of the guys, they had already developed to a degree bad habits. So you need to overcome that bad habits that they develop by years, right? Years and years and years of training. So it's a challenge to kind of override these bad habits for about 3 days, right? But one of the tricks to do it is to give them a lot of visualizations. So when you present something as a visualization, like a visual analogy, you're targeting directly the subconscious mind. And as I say many times during the class, subconscious mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. Depends what are you loading in it, right? And that will define, the subconscious will define our behavior in general, our social behavior in society. That's the reason that religions target the subconscious mind through rituals, right? The language of the subconscious mind is allegories, tales, visualizations, symbols. And different religions, they actually use those levers in order to target the subconscious mind. It's exactly the same as the TV commercials, right? Even if you know that one thing can be absolutely false, if you hear it about 100 times for a few days, you start accepting it. So it's exactly the same thing with training. At the moment that you can present some kind of a visualization and promote it to the student, it's a fastest way for them kind of to adapt a specific technique or a specific concept and to a degree override something that they developed by many years. So that's a little trick that I use.
That's cool. I saw you doing it out there too, as far as the visualization thing goes. I really like the way you teach too. I got to give you that. Some instructors teach is very, and with really with any of the guys I run around with and do things with, you're all fantastic. You keep it light in what you're presenting to them, and all those skills, and because you make them spend a lot of time working on the fundamentals of the grip, of the shooting stance, of the shooting platform, and all those things. And you spend a lot of time making them do it before they ever start pulling the trigger, which I think helps them, get to where you need them to be to start pulling the trigger, obviously. But I thought you did a fantastic job with it. I was really interested in watching the method of how you taught is what I was paying attention to.
Yeah, the big difference probably TPC from the rest of the schools, we are not so focused on the techniques, shooting techniques. We emphasize heavily principles behind the technique and principles behind the performance. So at the moment that the students understand in depth the principles, they start to own that specific skill, and they can develop their own style and kind of modify the technique so the technique will fit best their needs. Different students, different musculature, different hand size, the way how the neural system is actually functioning, it can be different from individual to individual. So at the moment that you understand in depth the principles, you can do whatever you want with that skill, and you're becoming again the designer of your own style. And that idea came from the founder of TPC, the original founder. It's very well known in the instructors society, Ron Avery. So I was fortunate enough, Ron Avery, to become my mentor, and that hugely changed my view about instructing and in general how to approach life. He kind of get me into always search for principles and to find principles in something, and that will lead me to understand life in general a little bit better. Interesting journey,
Awesome.
by the way.
It sounds like it. And so tell folks where you're from, and then let's tell them about your company, Tactical Performance Center, because we haven't even brought it up yet. But tell, because I know they're wondering, they're like, "Where's this guy from?" So where are you from?
That's the exotic accent, right? Very nice, very nice.
Like,
Yeah, you do the best Borat. I'll give you that. You do the best Borat.
Like the tactical Borat. So originally I'm from Bulgaria. That's part of the Eastern Europe, just north from Greece. About my background, I served 7 years in U.S. diplomatic security service, primarily in Europe, different countries in Europe. After that, I have a few years in the Middle East, like a tactical instructor. And then I moved to the United States full time. I was happy enough to actually meet Ron at that time. And I started helping as an assistant instructor at TPC. Later on, become one of the lead instructors, and currently I'm the director of training. So my other part of the background, I'm also a competitive shooter. I'm shooting for Team CZ, double USPSA Grandmaster, and yeah, CZs are awesome. And my
You had some nice CZs there too, man. You had some nice pistols with you. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I believe in that gun. It's very ergonomical. I love it. And what I like the most of CZs as a company, they're very flexible. They listen to actual shooters, and they actually base their designs very tightly connected with the feedback that the shooters actually provided to them. So that's a smart way to approach it.
Yeah, a gun company listening to the shooters, that's different.
Yeah, that's kind of a different thing, right?
Yeah, it is. Well, you were at SHOT with Sue and Emery, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had a great time. We had a blast.
Yeah. How was SHOT, Sue? How'd that go, man?
I wish it would have went better, but and I wasn't really impressed with. There's not a whole lot new to brag about. It's getting very commercialized. I mean, just for us to have lunch and everything was, a $200 bill. But
oh yeah,
Rossen took us, and we did hung out for 2 or 3 hours there at the Mantis booth. I was so impressed with the Mantis system that I haven't seen it yet, but I ordered the whole thing. Both I'm very, very much in the same school of thought as Ross. I need to dry fire for every live round that I shoot. I need to dry fire about 1,000 times. So what Rossen showed me at his house on the Mantis system, and then some of the stuff I saw at the X10 and some of the AR-15 stuff that they're doing at Mantis, I ordered the whole system, so I can't wait to. Troy and I are going to get playing around with that before we go back to some of Rossen's TPC classes or gun runner pistol again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And you caught the crud after SHOT, right?
Oh yeah, I was down hard. Emery and Rossen went to the range and did a couple videos. They fought through being sick. Not me. I'm a big pussy. I stayed in bed.
But he survived.
Yeah, but he lived.
He lived.
And T, you're trying to die, but not that you got the antibiotics. You might actually live through this. You might make it.
Stay in the saddle, man. I will tell you though, I got to hang out with Rossen on the range with Emery, and they were doing some filming for Tactical Rifleman. That was a great time there in that Byron's, and of course I am a CZ fanboy as well. I can't help it. My P10C is my baby. That's what I pack around everywhere, and my shadows. I've got my shadows, but I will tell you, Rossen. Anyone like he's got the high friction pressure, all the rosin wrinkle, but that slide bike that Rossen has needs its own area code. I've never seen someone with a callus on their shooting hand like Rossen's got. I tell you, you earned that. And anybody that has that slide bite, don't get in a gunfight with Rossen. Just don't. You ain't gonna win. It's too fast.
It's like the cauliflower ear for shooters, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah, the cauliflower. I was thinking the same thing.
the cauliflower of the thumb, of the web. Amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what will happen when you dry fire every single day.
That's gotta be it.
And try to hit the range at least 4 times per week, for sure. At least.
Right.
wow.
I looked.
You got a range at your house, Rossen?
That day, and I was like, I felt so feminine. It was like I put lotion on my hand all the time or something. After looking at you.
I'm lucky
that
that I have a great range, huge range, 15 minutes from home. So
Nice.
yeah, especially when I'm getting ready for a match or something like that. I'm hitting the range every single day. I spent at least 300 up to 500 rounds training sessions, and then I continue with the dry practice back at home. So I try to stay very consistent for at least 2-3 weeks without skipping a range day.
How often
That's
do you
not bad.
shoot competitively, Rossen? I mean, what's on average? How often are you doing a competition?
So now I'm shooting, like our local matches in a regular basis. Every single weekend that we have a local matches, I try to participate if I'm not teaching a class. But about the major matches, the matches that are really kind of counts there, right? I'm shooting 5, 6, 7, depends, per year. Like I even traveled to Europe, to Czech Republic, actually, to shoot some of the biggest match out there. That's the Extreme European, which is 3 days, 30 stages, over 700 competitive rounds. So it's huge event, over 1,000 shooters from all over the world, all over the world. Yeah, so. It's great. It's great.
Oh, for sure. I noticed too that your hand gestures mimic everything of changing magazines, because you just said 3, and it looked like you was holding a magazine in your hand when you did.
Yeah, one of my fingers is broken, but that's another story. And my nose.
I'm sure that's a story. Well, hey, let me ask you this, Rossen. With the folks watching, and I think I know the answer to this, but if you could tell them one thing to do to improve their shooting that ain't gonna cost them money or a lot of time, what would you tell them to do?
To train smarter. How to train smarter, to be smart in their training. And one step that they can improve is to pay more attention on the details. As the guys from U.S. Marksmanship Unit likes to say, the only difference that makes a good shooter a great shooter is how much they will pay attention to details. So to train with higher level of awareness, and every single time when they hit the range, they need to have a plan before that. They need to have one main topic that they need to work on, and one secondary. That's the most. 2 topics the most. The problem is that a lot of guys, they want to go to the range and they want to train like 15 different things. At the very end, they do not generate enough repetitions, and they they end up from many chairs, they end up on the ground. You know what I mean? It requires a good quality training. It requires very mindful repetitions and more repetitions until you achieve precision. To do something over and over again, exactly the same way, in very repetitive execution and very predictable results. That will define your level of skill. You see, so many shooters, they are posting great things on Instagram, but the problem is that many of them actually they do like 100 takes to post their performance. That doesn't represent their true self. That doesn't represent their true skill. Can you repeat that particular skill that you're demonstrating 10 times in a row with the same result? That's a skill. That will define your real skill.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. So focus training, paying attention to exactly what you're doing.
Very much so.
Mag dumping is wasting ammo, is what you're telling me.
Not only that, I don't mind empty cases. I like to reload. I don't mind empty cases. But the problem is that there's a great trap that they can develop bad skills because not paying enough of attention and just focus of shooting and repeating it more and more and more, just a quantity without an awareness is not going to lead to a quality in your training. You need to have a high level of awareness.
And as civilians, there isn't much need for suppressive fire. So what do you think about that question there? Does dry firing wear your gun out faster? I remember growing up, my dad said not to dry fire because you break the gun.
Well,
and that was true back in the day. But go ahead, Johnny.
And I can answer that real quick. Is it will ruin your gun unless you're using a CZ, because CZs, they don't break like all the other guns.
Yeah.
Doing stuff
Mhm.
like
That dry fire thing goes back to wheel guns. I mean, it goes back to like revolvers and shit, where you could damage them dry firing them enough. But modern striker fired pistols aren't going to be a problem.
No, most of the ring fire, there still be an issue with them. But the normal guns these days, the modern guns, I don't think that there will be an issue in general. You can use a snapcats, you can use the dummy rounds if you're so concerned about the firing pin. But in general, it's not going to be a issue with dry firing the gun, even without dummy round.
So Rossen, do you now? When I teach my pistol classes, I don't so much focus on footwork as I do, tank turret upper portion. Do you focus at all on footwork, or is that something more advanced that comes into play after people grasp the fundamentals?
I focus first on forming a good shooting platform, and by a good shooting platform, I mean the grip, the isosceles triangle that you form actually with your arms, torso, that it's connected to the torso, and the torso it's carried by the pelvis. Now, what the feet will do, it will be completely disconnected from that shooting platform. That means feet can be very relaxed and they can step whatever you like. You need to keep that shooting platform, pelvis, torso, and that isosceles triangle connected to the grip, kind of in the same geometrical configuration. If you achieve that, you will be mobile and you will be very effective with your shooting at the same time. So yeah, we have a specific class. It's a 3-day class that it's completely dedicated to the footwork. But before you start with that, you need to make sure that your shooting platform is spot on.
Right.
If your shooting platform is not spot on, that will affect your accuracy, and the students will get frustrated and they will pay more attention about the accuracy instead of the actual footwork.
Okay, so you kind of start with that fundamental portion of it, which you should, and then you transition to the more advanced stuff like moving, shooting, positioning yourself, footwork. Yeah, somebody's got a lot of noise in the background.
Correct. Yes. It is important because, again, the main idea is to able to glide that shooting platform in a plane that it's kind of parallel to the ground without too much of a shake or a wobble over there. And there are a few principles behind that I think not many teach exactly that small details. But I will tell you one of them, which is kind of an interesting. We call it the principle of a stalking cat. Everybody is talking about walking heel to toe manner, right? Heel to toe manner. But regardless how you step on the ground, at the moment that you transfer the weight immediately to the foot that with which one you're touching the ground, there will be a bounce. There will be a bounce in your grip for sure. Doesn't matter. Heel to toe, toe to toe, heel to heel, whatever, right? The idea, one of the core principles, you touch the ground first, and then you gradually transfer the weight. Exactly how, if you observe a cat stalking a bird or a lioness stalking its prey in Africa, right? It's touching the ground first and gradually transferring the weight, and touching the ground with the other foot and gradually transferring the weight. And that immediately eliminates any kind of a bounce that it's transferred to your shooting platform. So that's one of the principles that we teach in TPC when you're talking about shooting on the move.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I've had some instruction from you, at Carl's events that he puts on. And we've talked about that subsequently since then. I'm like, wow, that small amount of training. And of course, talking to you later about the spiritual aspect of it and holistically bringing it all together. It was amazing. I hold you in high esteem and hope to be able to participate in a few of your classes moving forward.
Yeah, actually, our YouTube channel, it's a great source of some ideas. If guys want to be a little bit more familiar with the teaching style that we preach, you can check our YouTube channel, which is just a Tactical Performance Center, right? And you'll see original Ron Avery as well, and tons of lot of ideas how to improve your training, how to improve your grip, how you improve your stance, trigger control, shooting in the move, etc., etc., etc. We think that unshared knowledge, it's a dead knowledge. At the very end, I think if you pass that knowledge to the shooting community, we help the shooters to be more responsible and also to be smarter in their training sessions as well. And I think that contributes in general to the shooting community, and that's good for everyone. It's great for Second Amendment as well.
It's great, but there's nothing that substitutes going out and taking instruction in the field from an experienced instructor, somebody that's attentive. Question for you too: so your entry-level shooting class, which I would assume this was kind of one of your basic classes. What are the prerequisites, if any, for somebody to come in there? I know it's a little more challenging with brand new shooters, so I was just curious.
Actually, it's interesting that Helgen Mastery, which is one of our flagmen, we have a different type of shooters from different law enforcement guys, from just a normal law enforcement to SWAT guys to instructors to completely new shooters to military personnel, and etc., etc. And it's interesting. That class, it's not like a basic or advanced. It's interesting because everyone can take whatever they need from that class. So we're starting with crawl, walk, run, kind of very progressive layers. But it's interesting that we present the entire concept, starting from the very ground level to the very roof of that house, kind of rebuilding the house completely. And that helps even professional instructors to have a different perspective about how to structure the things, how to understand some of the core skills, like just simply the stance. You have a lot of elements that a lot of people are not aware about, and that helps them to get a little bit deeper and kind of start manipulating that particular element. So it's useful for everyone, I know it sounds a little bit weird, but any levels can participate, and they will take something from
Okay.
it.
So, in my years of instruction, I'm nowhere near your level, but some things I've witnessed, both being a student and an instructor, is that I prefer to teach newer shooters because I know a lot of people are intimidated. I find them, especially females or younger people, they just listen better. It's the people that have been shooters their whole life, or I was in big army, or I was this and that, are the most difficult to teach more often than not. Do you find that to be the case or no?
I definitely find out that in general, females, they pay more attention because they're less than ego complex at that point. All the guys are like, yeah, I'm a dude, so I watched John Wick, so I know how to shoot, right?
I watched John Wick. I watched John Wick. It's fucking hilarious. I watched all of them.
Yeah, exactly. So the guys, and again, depends from a person to a person, but a lot of guys, they don't pay enough attention, or they try to compensate lack of knowledge, try to find
now we're demonetized. There you go.
Here we go.
There, Sue just brought out the 88 Magnum. It shoots through school buses.
I don't like you laughing at my mule.
It's an 88 Magnum.
88 Magnum.
That's a 100 Magnum.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I got something for your 44, Rossen. This is an 88.
88.
Throw two wheels on the front
Oh,
of
Smith
that
and
thing.
Wesson 500.
You could
Which
fucking
actually
joust
gives you
with
one more-
you could joust
that
with
gives
that
you
with a
one more
shield
idea.
that's like a medieval weapon.
That's freaking
That gives you
artillery.
one more idea. Actually, I shoot Emery's Golden Desert Eagle 50 cal, holding it with just with middle finger. It's like Carl's trigger finger isolation drill and 50 Action Express. But somebody gave me an idea I should try with 500 Smith & Wesson. So that will be the next project.
I've got one. I'll bring it down.
Yeah.
I'm ready to let you shoot it.
It's the 2.5-inch barrel stub nose too.
Ooh.
That's your backup when you're hiking Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the Mad Max hip holster pistol right there. man.
Velociraptor certified.
Anything I can almost stick my pinky into the cylinder, that's quite the round.
What I wanted to demonstrate, actually, a lot of people that didn't believe, it's the biomechanical efficiency that we teach in TPC. That at the moment that you slip on your wrist, hey, it's not big enough.
That's what she said.
That's
You
exactly
feel lucky, punk.
that's what all of them say.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, Boyd Craven has a single action in 30-30 that he brought down here to shoot. When he was down here
Yeah, I saw that.
ago. Oh my
Yeah.
God. You
30-30.
need a sling for it. A pistol with a sling.
Yeah. It was like a Thompson centerfire kind of thing.
So,
Oh,
Rossen,
hunting pistols.
Another question, just kind of a 5,000 foot view. I've read a lot of stuff and talked to, I'm friends with a bunch of former cool guys, and a lot of them said that a lot of their tactics and techniques came from competition shooting over the years. Would you say that's a true statement?
Yes, not the tactics, but the techniques for sure. Right?
Sure.
The technique
Right.
for sure, because we need to remind how actually the sport of practical shooting originally was pop up in life was back in 1976 when Jeff Cooper, which was and is still officially the first president, of IPSC, him with a bunch of other instructors, law enforcement primarily, they decided to find a practical shooting sport and use it as a laboratory to find out what kind of shooting techniques will be most practical and more efficient for a good fight scenario at the very end, right? And that was the original idea of practical shooting as a sport. And the shooting techniques, they evolved, including they started with a river back then, but that evolved to the modernized socialist stance and a straight thumb grip, which is the kind of the most often used grip right now these days, and of course is the most efficient one that provides the best control over the firearm. So I hear that a lot still. Oh, competition shooting will get you killed in the street. No, if you know how to use it properly. We need to understand that competition, you have a different mission, right? You have a preset course of fire. You need to engage your targets with a reasonable accuracy as fast as you can, and that's your final goal. You measure the accuracy and time. But in the reality, you want to save your life to accomplish a specific mission or to save somebody else's life. So that defines completely a different tactical approach. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking about the technical shooting skills, ability to control the weapon under speed and still preserve the accuracy, fast and efficient manipulations, including the magazine changes, draws, and etc., including movement with the firearm, they're pretty much the same. So extract these technical values that the sport can offer, polished technical values, and then implement it with the actual real-world tactics, and you will become a very deadly and efficient operator at that point.
So do you, rolling from there, do you teach a concealed carry specific drawing from concealment class and maybe as a follow-up? Because I won't let first-time students use concealed. It's got to be outside the waistband just for safety reasons. But once they're more advanced, well, just saying, I've had some sketchy people out there before. But
you're right. You're right.
Like in a level 2, that can be run from concealment because the deployment of that weapon is so important. I was just curious how Rossen approaches that.
Yeah, we have a defensive mastery class that it's more. It's focused completely about like a self-defense scenarios, and we allow the appendix carry draw, any kind of a concealed carry draw, and we have a very interesting psychomotoric drills, which are designed to test how much your shooting performance will degrade if you implement some physical and mental stress. And you see how a lot of people get lost. Get lost during these exercises. But it's a good wake-up call. So it's not only shooting in a square range, not just shooting a kind of a sterile shooting drills, but also you need to learn how to even to get tired, or how to get under emotional stress and still manage that level of stress and still perform and still taking the proper decisions.
I think you might be onto something. You should actually have a law enforcement specific class on how to draw from concealed from somebody else without shooting them.
Yeah.
It could be a big hit,
Jacksonville PD might sign up for that one right now.
Yeah, they'd be the first to sign up, sir.
We do a lot of instructor development classes for law enforcement, including for some military units as well. So instructor development, how to present the material in a more structured way, how to segregate training, and later on how to synergize training. We truly believe that separation of training is critical until you develop that subconscious competence, and then you synergize them together. That means you can learn how to shoot and just how to shoot a gun. Then you can learn tactics without touching a single firearm in general, understanding angles, communication, areas of responsibility, and etc., and then synergize both, polish that, and then put yourself in some physical and emotional distractions and stress, and see how well you can perform in that environment. So kind of 3 phases of training in general. That will make it much easier for the student, because at that point their shooting is subconscious. If they're still building their shooting skills, at the moment that you put them in more stressful environment, of course, their shooting performance will degrade for sure. So what exactly are you testing at that point? Or if they're still kind of a newbies in the tactics and you put them in an overwhelming environment, still, again, their tactics will suck because they're not their second nature, right? The idea is to know them really well, to actually engrave them as a subconscious skill, and then try to test and see how these performances and decisions will degrade or degrade in that emotional or physical stress. This is when actually you're testing the guy, how well he can perform. And at that point, you focus on that mental toughness and ability to manage their stress levels. At least that's our philosophy.
Yeah, that's the kicker, because in years past, I'd say I had a class coming up, on a weekend. It was a 2-day carbine class, transitional shooting. And I'd go out to the range before that, just myself or a buddy, and just, shoot really, really well. But when you get in that environment where everybody's watching you and everybody's around and you're having to do this and remember this and a sequence of things, then you just fall apart. But that's how you learn. And
and that's a completely different rabbit hole by itself. Totally. Ability to manage stress. One thing that I can have, I find that it's the most helpful in general is student to focus on the process. It needs to be absolutely familiar with the process, what he needs to do, how to do it. And instead of thinking about the consequences, completely to stay focused and dedicated focus on the process, and the result will be a consequence of well-executed process. So that's a trick, kind of a mental trick, to reduce the level of stress at that point.
We're going to take a quick little pause here, guys. I'm going to throw this Dalton ad up on the screen. We still have some left. There's only, I think, 10 of them left now, Russ. Am I right? Right around 10 of them left. So if you guys want one, now is your chance to get one. So hit it up. We still got them in stock.
Notice the lovely stonewashed finish.
That's right.
Make that go away.
Sometimes your mag runs dry, and you have to have a backup.
And
Dalton comes in.
That's where that's right.
You might scare somebody to death whipping that out on them.
Or the 88.
So listen, I wasn't going to say anything, Rossen, but it's just been weighing on my mind because I don't know if it's right. I was talking to Chris, and he's like, "Yeah, Rossen's a pretty good shooter. About 100 yards with my 1911 from World War II and a sweet key in the other hand. I would shoot rings around that foreign son of a bitch." I was like, "Dude, can you back that up?"
I can now shoot you.
Sometimes.
Isn't
above 60.
Shit. So let's move on to a couple other things because there's been so much shit going on this week.
No doubt.
Oh wait. I wanted to answer this question here for Brian real quick. So Rossen, what would be your recommendation here for him? And T and Sue, Donnie, all you guys, I want you to all throw it in the ring there. What you guys would recommend? He likes the 3 3 3/4 to 4-inch barrel, similar to a 365, but with a safety and 10 rounds.
Ooh, you don't want safety. Safety's kill.
Unless you train with them a lot.
Yeah, well, there's that, but you got to train a lot with them. Especially modern firearms that don't have the thumb safety like a 1911, which is a little bit easier. Some of the MMPs and some of the different pistols out there.
Yeah.
Man, there's so many good guns on the market right now. That CZ Shadow 2 compact, did I say that right, Rossen?
That's a nice one.
That's just a sexy pistol. Like, I just want to love it. I got to get one.
The only problem with the Shadows in general, if you consider carrying them like concealed carry guns, they doesn't have a pin block. So eventually, if you drop them, they can produce a shot. And if you're not to have a pin block, and that's only Shadows because they are more sport orientated, so they want to gimmick and kind of achieve that really short reset and smooth trigger. That's the reason that there's absence of a pin block there.
Did CZ steal that feature from SIG? The dropping and going out, it could be used as a tactic.
They're hard to catch.
Now, does the CZ have a half cock on it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you could carry it half cock then and avoid that.
You can, and you can call it, half cock, but that will be probably the safer.
He's always carrying half cock, so.
Yeah.
I live my life half cocked. That's how I live my life.
One thing that it's, in my opinion, it's really important. The guns doesn't matter so much which model, what brand you use. I think it's way more important to train, polish the skill, and at some point you say, gun doesn't matter. At the moment that you polish on and you focus on the core principles, you don't care. You don't care you're going to fire a double action trigger, you fire a single action trigger, or a striker fire trigger. You don't care about how long is the barrel, how large is the grip, or something like that. Now, I need to admit, shout out, I'm a sponsored guy, HSL Ammunition. Actually, they provide me ammunitions for free, and I train a lot, and I can understand some people that, it can be a little bit more limited about the ammo, but they can substitute that with dry practice. And now these days, probably one of the top things that the leading part of new stuff in the SHOT Show were that virtual reality simulations and all that stuff, and they can be helpful. They can be helpful, by the way. There are so many gadgets these days that can improve your drive practice to a very high level if you know how to use them, and if you know where to pay your attention, where you need to focus your attention to. So that's just my opinion.
Are the CZs that you're running the single action version, or are they the double action?
Oh, I have a striker fire. I have a single double actions. I'm a huge fan of double single action guns. And I carry them completely decocked in general, because I believe that with a little bit of training, double action can be as fast and as accurate as a single action, but it requires to be deliberately pulled. So there's no chance that you'll do an accidental discharge with a double action gun. Wow. And once you get the first double action, after that, you have that so smooth, fast, and deadly single action shots after that.
Actually,
so I love single double action guns.
The CZs probably have the smoothest double action pull that I've shot. I mean, they're head and shoulders.
Those shadows are like butter, man.
The angle of the trigger, the smoothness. I mean, they're nice guns.
Yeah, they're awesome. Definitely.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Very cool.
So you guys, we were talking about this before we came on here about the IRS, Starbucks K-Cups, and all this money that's coming up. The $50 million to buy condoms for Gaza.
What? I didn't hear that.
Are they goat rated?
Trump, I don't know. Trump caught that one, or somebody on his staff probably caught that right before it's getting ready to be sent. $50 million to send to the Palestinian Authority to buy condoms, because, how many people are in Gaza? How many condoms is that? That's probably more condoms than there are people in Gaza. So
there's more. Yeah, that's probably more condoms than people in.
Yeah, that whole USAID thing that's unrolling right now is I think going to be what ultimately undoes the Democrat Party in this country. I think they're done.
Still beating that drum. Like, all people have done is complain and bitch about the bureaucracy, and we need to clean it up and stop spending so much money. Finally, now somebody's doing it, and it's unbelievable. This guy.
Well, they didn't think they would be cleaning up their money. They all wanted to keep their little slush funds going. And everybody's making a big deal about Elon's engineers that are working on all this stuff. Talking about, they're 19 to 20-year-old kids. Yeah, that have won international awards and hold patents and all kinds of shit.
Rockets that land on platforms.
Yeah.
So
if they are capable, right? Problem with bureaucracy is that, and I know that because I grew up in a socialist country. Bulgaria was behind the Iron Curtain, And I notice exactly the same pattern over there in a socialist country, bureaucracy growing so huge, in the level of competency in that bureaucracy. Actually, more and more incompetent people jump in, and it's growing as a tumor, and it's complicating all the systems over there. And a way of operation in order to self-justify its own existence, to the point at the very end it's becoming absolutely inefficient.
Yep.
Like we're witnessing
Agreed.
here right now these days, right?
Well,
I mean,
we're witnessing the movie
believe-
Idiocracy happening. Is what we're witnessing.
Yeah,
Go ahead, T.
I couldn't believe hearing
Yeah.
the 22 years that they never denied any request. Did you hear
I
that?
could have put a
Which is
request.
crazy.
22
Yeah, they
years, not
literally
one
said
request
yes.
denied.
Yeah,
Yeah, USA ID is just the tip of the iceberg. Everybody's mad and claiming that Elon Musk has taken over the government. Elon Musk isn't doing a thing. He's just pointing out where the fraud, waste, and abuse
on a
is at.
Yep.
Elon Musk can't make a decision on firing anything. He can't stop the money. He can't do anything. He's just bringing it to the surface. And
All right.
this is just the beginning. Wait till they get to Department of Defense. Wait till they get to State Department fraud, waste, and abuse. Wait till they get Department of Homeland Security fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean,
Wait till they get to the Department of Defense. You might have said that, but I wasn't paying attention.
He did.
yeah.
I'm about to sneeze.
Elon Musk really doesn't give a damn who doesn't like him and who's got bad
No.
things to say about him. He doesn't need
No.
a job after this.
Now,
Yeah.
When
no,
it's
that
all
kind of
said
money,
and
he
done,
doesn't.
There's going to
doesn't
be a
have to care.
bunch of people in the government that are going to need jobs for being so incompetent for decades.
Well, I heard that 40,000 federal employees now have taken the buyout. And they just offered it to the CIA as well yesterday. They offered the CIA a buyout. They get 8 months of salary plus all their benefits if they decide to quit the agency. Or any department, actually, in the federal government right now is how I was looking. And Hillary Clinton was just on Twitter earlier raging that the transportation secretary reached out to Elon and said, hey, can you send some of your engineers our way to help out with flight control, air traffic control. And Hillary Clinton lost her mind over that. Why are you letting these 18 and 19-year-old kids go in there and people's lives are on the line? Let's look at who you people encouraged to be hired into the air traffic control business in recent years and compare their fucking skill sets, and we'll see who comes out on top.
So, Chris,
Yeah.
I wanted to.
What about if you're not choosing people by their ethnicity or diversity policy, and instead of that start choosing people and hiring people based on their abilities?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
not on their ability to go to an airport and steal women's luggage.
Yeah, craziness.
Yeah.
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 So we have a new attorney general, and I just wanted
Yes,
to
we
kind of
do.
tell all of our friends out there online that
That's right.
I did a bunch of work for her, and I do very expensive stuff, so I got to be friendly with her and have some really good conversations. I got to see her get mad, and you do not want to be on the receiving end of that ever. Trust me. But let me tell you, she is a wonderful person, incredibly kind and nice. I mean, as a human being. And I asked her, we're on a job site one day. I was like, Pam, what's he really like? And she's like, Don, he's wonderful. He is such a good man, and he remembers this and that. And people think he's dumb and he's genius. Yeah, I mean, it was really cool to hear that from her. I mean, she had no stake in that. She knew I was voting for. But I just think that's really cool that she's the attorney general, because she was a hell of attorney general for the state of Florida. And in Tampa, she worked at the prosecutor's office for years. So, it's a really cool thing. It's good. I mean, if he's putting people like that, of that quality and that kind of character in office, that's refreshing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all
Promising.
shakes out. What he's doing domestically is fantastic. I think his idea of us rebuilding Gaza is lunacy, and that's one way to guarantee the entire Arab world does want to kill us.
Bravado, dude.
Yeah, but that one's a little over the top to me. But the other shit he's doing, like he set his sights on the Department of Education. It's probably going to be gone. The FBI is getting a serious overhaul. Now they're looking at the CIA. Like, they're looking at everybody. They're turning over all the rocks and looking under all the shit. And I think it's going to be better. I think it's going to be painful, but I think in the end, it's going to end up being better for the country as a whole.
Oh, how could it not be?
Yeah, looks
Yeah, there we go.
promising for sure.
Daddy's taking the credit card away.
Yeah, he has.
You said you didn't like the idea of rebuilding Gaza. When I first heard him come up with that idea, I was like, man, that's completely out of left field. Where do they come up with that? And I laughed at it. And
Yeah.
I've been chewing on it all day long, and I'm like, why not? I mean, we've been ever since I was a kid, ever since the 70s when they, the PLO started taking hostages and taking down airliners. I was like, why don't we get basically a trade-free zone, rebuild it, and give people a chance to get away from terrorism? Because what we've done for the last 5 decades has not worked.
No.
So I like the idea.
What didn't Lebanon used to be like the paradise of the Middle East, in the Mediterranean?
The Paris
Like,
of the Middle East.
Iran used to be.
Well, no, Lebanon was like, casinos.
Yeah, Lebanon was nice too, but even Iran back in its day was.
It's interesting. Even if it sounds like a crazy idea, it could become a stabilizing factor. It can stabilize the region at some point. I don't know. We'll see. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, the problem is though to do that, all the Palestinians have to leave, and that's even what Trump said. There's no nation on earth going to take them. So
think about how our enemies think, though. They train the next generation to be terrorists. So what if this next generation has an option put right in front of them, right in their own backyard? Is it what he's doing? Is he's basically dismantling the entire mindset and the entire education system of our enemies? He's given this next generation an option.
At some point, you just got to sit back and look what this dude's accomplished and what he's went through to get back to be the president. Like, dude,
it ain't been long either.
Winning, right? He got shot. I mean, it goes on and on. The weight of the entire media against him, it's crazy.
Speaking of media, Politico's going out of business.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
There will be no more because
didn't pay, as I heard today. They skipped the payroll
because the feds stopped paying them. Yeah, just like the Syrian prison guards. Did you catch that one, Sue? That when USAID when their checkbook was closed, that a bunch of Syrian prison guards walked off the job that were guarding ISIS prisoners because they were no longer being paid by the NGO that we were funding.
Oh, boy.
I did not hear about that one, but that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
When I was in Somalia, when I first I never heard of Somalia until I got deployed there, and USAID was supposed to feed a bunch of Somali refugees, and I sat there and watched all the trucks go right over there to the warlord camps and drop the trucks off, and I was like, that's not helping out any refugees. But those NGOs were like, oh, our job's done here, let's go home and get paid.
Yep.
Food is power.
That's all they're about.
Yep.
The oldest weapon on earth. So, well, let me think here. I'm just gonna make sure I covered the high points of that one. I think we got it for right now. It's gonna be interesting as this progresses forward, watching all this shit come apart. And Ross, I just want to say, man, thanks for being here. Glad I got to see you this week, buddy. Be safe in your future travels wherever you're headed. I don't know if you're going home or you got another one after this, but man, I appreciate you being on tonight, and it was awesome watching you teach. You're a great instructor, buddy.
The pleasure was all mine, brother. The pleasure was all mine.
We'll have to do it again in the future where I got time to be on the range and not other complications getting in the way.
Oh.
So what do you got? What do you want to leave them with tonight, Rosin? I like to leave everybody, we go around the horn, everybody leaves them with a thought, and then that's pretty much it for the evening. So what do you want to leave folks with?
That's an interesting idea. In general,
Yeah, it ain't got to be on no topic, just whatever you want.
Again, in general, I'll return to one thing that I said at the very beginning. I think that it's critical, especially for the new generation, the young generation, and that's all over the world, here in the United States and everywhere. I think the most important thing is to try and push that new generation to develop their critical thinking. Because I think, in general, ability of critical thinking, that's the greatest gift that God gave us as intellectual beings, right? And I think the critical thinking is the worst enemy for any kind of tyrannical governance in general. So if we kind of stimulate that critical ability of critical thinking to the young generation, the youngest generations, that will be something amazing. The problem is that social media kind of is a double-edged sword to a degree. It reduces the attention span to a very critical terms. But at the other side, the social media internet provides an unlimited source of information. And we need to kind of push the young generation to be more curious and just to get their own journey to discover stuff. At the moment that you discover and you research different topics by your own, you're not going to be so easily deceived in general. And that all the entire wokeness that we're witnessing today is just simply a deception. It's a social engineering thing, to the point that it's turning to ludicrous, complete nonsense. But you see how it's easy to manipulate people in general, because again the modern educational system is actually, instead of make them smarter, it's vilifying them in general. It completely erases their ability of critical thinking. And I think that the entire focus will be first us to be critical thinkers, and with any possibility to push the ability of the new generation to become a critical thinkers. So I think that's my message in general.
That's a good one. I like that. Yeah, because people got to learn to think for them damn selves. T, what do you got, man? What are you going to leave people with tonight? Take your friggin' antibiotics?
Yeah, man. That, sometimes you got to take antibiotics. That's what it is. Some people are on that consistent drip because of their lifestyles. But
yeah.
First off, it's always great seeing Rossen, listening to him, and North Carolina is really nice. May 2nd through the 4th, Rossen. Just going to throw that out there. Right. Absolutely. There. And everybody already. Like, everyone is already your friend.
Oh, that's right. I didn't play that tonight. Sorry, man. Shit.
So first, Rossen, come out and see us this May. Maybe even teach a class or something. Hang out. If nothing else, just hang out around the fire and kick back and socialize, drink some coffee. It's going to be a good 3 days.
That will be so awesome. It'll be awesome.
But,
it'll be a good time.
I found something. I was scrolling somewhere. I don't even know where I got this, but I snapshotted it, and it's kind of I think where we went in the country and where we're at today. And it said, first we overlook evil, and then we permit evil, then we legalize evil, then we promote evil, then we celebrate evil, then we persecute those who still call it evil. And I think that's where we are at currently in today's day and age. But I think this year we're going to see a lot of that persecution dwindling. So I'm looking forward to this year. It's going to be a good
one. I hope you're right, man. I'm optimistic, but carefully so.
That's it.
So, Donnie, what do you got, man? What are you going to leave everybody with tonight, man?
I'm critically thinking. I have a lot of guns, but my heart's not going to stop bothering me till I get a CZ Shadow 2 compact in my collection.
You need that, man.
I just failed.
It's time.
I just failed. No, I think things are going to be interesting. It's going to get worse before it gets better, but I think we're on the right path. I don't feel as oppressed, like it, not in a weird.
It is interesting seeing all this shit being swept under the rug, or the DEI and all this shit. There's videos all over TikTok of the teachers having to take down their pride flags and their tranny flags and all that shit. And I think it's fucking hilarious. I really do. Because the schools should have never got into supporting that shit, that's why they did it, to indoctrinate the youth and blah, 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 blah. But you guys all know it. But it's funny watching them have to take it all apart now. It's also funny watching people in this country wave the flag of a country that we want to send them to, that they're apparently very proud of, while they're burning the flag of our country where we want to get them out of. It seems a little weird to me. You know, there's a duality there that don't check out. And all I'm going to say, guys, is remember to have fun. You know, you got to make time for fun. You got to make your own fun. Nobody's going to do it for you. Just keep preparing. I mean, just because Trump's in office don't mean shit. Keep doing your things, but remember to have fun.
Fun.
So that's all I got tonight.
Love all you.
I appreciate y'all being here. We'll hold this over Emery's head that we got Rosin on the show and Emery didn't show up, and we'll abuse him with that for a while.
I haven't seen Gary B in forever.
Yeah, Gary, yeah, he's over there. Me and Gary talk pretty frequently. Actually, we talk all the time. So.
That ain't cool.
Yeah, Gary's good. He's good people, man. He's hilarious.
He has a hell of a collection.
Anyway, yeah, I know he does. I got a hell of a collection. But that's it for tonight. Y'all know the drill. Be good. Be good at it. All night.